Republic TV, cutting across straight to London at the India Global Forum, where Kerry Alexandra is joining us live with the UK Vaccine Minister. Over to you, Kerry. As you speak to the UK Vaccine Minister, we just heard his session at the India Global Forum. Why don't you speak to him? Looking forward to hear from him.
Good morning. We're joining you now from London, from, as you say, the Global Forum. I have the Vaccine Minister here with us. We're going to ask him a couple of questions. I wanted to ask you, first of all, having gone through the process of a huge vaccine rollout in the UK, what advice would you offer to India? I know there's been some hesitancy there with the take-up of the vaccine. What advice would you offer to India?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the most important thing is to maintain that vaccine confidence. And I pay tribute to Prime Minister Modi over the weekend when he spoke about the ability for the whole system, practitioners, doctors, nurses, vaccinator volunteers, to share their experience, their positive experience of the vaccine program, of being vaccinated, the safety around the vaccine manufacturing process, and of course, the way we regulate vaccines. We have one of the best regulators in the world, independent of government, the MHRA, our regulator here in the UK. Of course, we have the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunisation, some of the world's best experts on vaccines, on virology, on immunology. You know, they are the ones who have guided the whole deployment. So if you look at phase one and the priority and the prioritization of the most vulnerable in terms of getting them protected as quickly as possible, way back in December, 8th of December, we began with Margaret Keenan, the First Lady, to receive the vaccine in the UK, probably in the world. We were the first major economy to regulate the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. And then, of course, with the Oxford-AstraZeneca vaccine, which I have had. I've had my 2 doses of the Oxford-AstraZeneca vaccine. And the work that we've done with the Serum Institute of India, where our regulator regulated the Serum Institute of India as part of AstraZeneca's global manufacturing capability, has been, I think, incredibly important. So vaccine positivity is a really important piece of this jigsaw. And our presidency of the G7 has allowed my Prime Minister, our Foreign Secretary, to take the message to the world. And you're going to see more of that, because the sort of the anti-vaxxers, the malign influences that I think Prime Minister Modi was quite rightly calling out over the weekend, need to be called out. These vaccines are incredibly safe. We're now, over 77 million doses and counting in the UK. By next week, we'll be getting to 18 million doses. The US is over 300 million doses. These vaccines are incredibly safe for young people, middle-aged people, for older people. You can feel protected when you get that double dose of the vaccine. We know they work really well against the Delta variant, against the other variants as well, if you've got that double dose. So go out and get your vaccine in India or, of course, in the United Kingdom.
Briefly, how important has a special relationship between the UK and India been for the kind of global rollout of the vaccines?
Incredibly important, and it will continue to grow. We've seen the work that we've done with the Serum Institute. I was speaking to them only yesterday, where they are now at 100 million doses a month of the Oxford vaccine, the Oxford-AstraZeneca vaccine. They're about to begin manufacturing the Novavax vaccine, which is looking like a really great vaccine as well. And of course, the rest of the Indian life sciences industry is incredibly important for our life science vision for the United Kingdom and the collaboration between our 2 nations. I think India's ambition to become the sort of the pharmacy of the world is incredibly important to me. I've got a big flu vaccination program that will run hopefully in line with our booster campaign for COVID. We will co-administer COVID and flu vaccine because of the lockdown, severe lockdown. We haven't had much flu virus circulating in the UK or indeed in the world. So it's really important that as we begin to transition COVID from pandemic status to endemic status in the UK and treat it like flu, that we have high take-up of flu as well. And I see more and more Indian manufacturers, Indian life science companies coming forward with other incredible clinical research that they look to do with us in the UK, whether with Oxford or Cambridge or other parts of the ecosystem that we've built in the United Kingdom. So an incredibly exciting time for our 2 nations. And I think that vaccine positivity, we both have a big part to play in to make sure we vaccinate the whole world, low and middle income countries as well. And I again pay tribute to India's capability in not only protecting its own people and vaccinating at scale, but also looking to manufacture for the whole world.
Absolutely. And a question I know millions of people, both the UK and India, keen to know the answer to. When do you think India will be off the red list for the UK? So
the joint biosecurity team will look at variants that are emerging. When in many ways, the United Kingdom is in a sort of a strong position vis-a-vis the ability to genome sequence and therefore effectively find those virus variants, the mutations of the virus, and we investigate them. So they become a virus under investigation, a VUI, as we call it. And then if they are of concern, then they become a virus of concern, as we saw with the Delta variant. But we keep a very close eye on this, and they review all of these things. And actually, one of the really great things from coming out of the G7 is the Prime Minister announcing a global collaboration, a sort of radar system for the world to be able to track not just the mutations around COVID, but also future viruses, that we want to head them off before they land us in a place as this virus did back in early 2020.
Absolutely. And final question, how important are events like the India Global Forum?
Incredibly important, and hence why I have made time to be here today. It's really important that we engage with our allies, a country as capable as India in both sort of discovery, innovation, in life sciences across the world, and of course in manufacturing capability. The whole world, I think, will look back on this time as a really difficult time, but also a time to build on the alliances that we had already in place and grow them. And out of necessity, great invention appears. And I think that is what's happening between the UK and India.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure. Back to you guys in the studio.